One of the clear benefits of doing temp work for so long was the lack of drama. Oh, there was some friction every now and again. We were a bunch of day laborers, so sometimes personalities would take over. I remember there was one guy, if a supervisor ever called him on a mistake, he would instantly turn to the person next to him and yell, "Barry, why'd you tell me to do that?" Stuff like that. That was pretty transparent. That guy just wasn't invited back the next day. Easy. That's as difficult as it was. If you didn't play ball, if you caused any little bit of a problem, you were gone. However, there's another kind of dismissal that I'm too familiar with, and I wish I had never experienced. These are the kind that happened with some of my full-time jobs. Whether it be because of jealousy, boredom, cliques, what have you. Somebody rallies a bunch of coworkers together and they find a target. And after that, nothing that person does is good enough. The consensus is, wouldn't things be so much better if Barry was gone? Barry's just a name I like to use. Comic book fan, Barry Allen. The best Flash. Gradually, over days, weeks, sometimes months, they become the focal point for most of the problems in the company. Eventually, even a supervisor gets wrapped into it if they weren't already the one who started it. It gets to the point where people are starting to complain about how Barry ties his shoes and how he can't even do that right. And eventually, the inevitable happens. And there's a meeting, a coaching session, or disciplinary, or maybe even a write-up. And the thing is, Barry hasn't changed one iota since you've met him. He's doing the same amount of work to the same amount of quality. The perception has changed of him. But during that meeting, he's told he has to shape up. He can't make these kinds of mistakes anymore. They pull out one specific instance and it's been blown way out of proportion. Other coworkers or other employees, they do kind of thing all the time and get away with it. No one ever talks to them. And usually what happens at this point, they get the fight or flight reaction. Verbally, sometimes physically, and that takes care of itself. Flight, well, again, they're in a corner. They want to escape, so they quit. And what happens after that? It's almost like the home team won. There's like this euphoric sense of victory, like it was bound to happen kind of thing, and it's about time. And it's almost like people are pausing, waiting for the credits to roll, like the show's over, happy ending time. But in reality, the shop or the business, what have you, is just short a person. And it's not like there was anything in place for a replacement. Yeah, in those cases, the door just gets left open to a rushed hire. So the person is sometimes underqualified, unseasoned. You know, things were kind of working like a well-oiled machine before Barry left, despite all the complaints. Or the most negative case that I've experienced at several companies, Barry's not replaced. Everybody else has to pick up the new slack. Even if you're involved with the party that gets rid of Barry, it's not a victory. Short-term thrill, long-term regret. And yes, that happened to me once or twice. But for the most part, I was always an observer. Not to sound too Vulcan, but it was fascinating behavior to observe. I definitely drew a lot from these experiences when creating the character of Garrett Hayes in my latest book, Larry's Cabin. He's trying to make his workplace as cohesive as possible, and he has no HR department. Hopefully it'll work out for him.